Hi, I'm Meng from Tokyo. In this video, I will show you the top 20 mistakes that you should know before traveling to Japan. Okay then, let's go! Mistake number 1. Arriving at Narita Airport. If you are traveling to Tokyo, you will either be going to Narita Airport or Haneda Airport. Although it is possible to go to Tokyo from either airport, Haneda Airport is by far the best choice if you have an option. The reason is that Narita Airport is located in Chiba Prefecture adjacent to Tokyo, and it takes more than 2 hours to reach central areas like Shinjuku and Shibuya in Tokyo. On the other hand, many places in central Tokyo can be reached from Haneda Airport in less than 1 hour. Considering convenience alone, using Haneda Airport is the better choice, although prices are often cheaper at Narita Airport than at Haneda Airport. However, if you want to get to the central Tokyo as soon as possible after arriving and if you don't mind spending a little more, choose Haneda Airport. Mistake number 2. Sit without guidance. When entering a restaurant, you generally wait for the waiter to arrive. Sometimes in restaurants where the staff also cook, it may take some time before you are shown to your seat. Therefore, do not sit down without permission, instead wait to be guided. If you're not shown the way after a while, it is appropriate to politely get the staff's attention by saying "sumimasen" in Japanese. One exception to this rule is ramen restaurants. At ramen shops and some chain restaurants, you often use a ticket machine to select and pay for your menu item in advance before being shown to your seat. If a restaurant has a ticket vending machine, be aware that it operates on a basic payment system. Mistake number 3. Waiting for them to come to order. In many Japanese restaurants, a waiter might not come to your table unless you take some action. Due to labor shortages, an increasing number of restaurants, especially major chains, now use digital tablets for ordering. Furthermore, in some places, your food might be even delivered by a robot. Gusto and Korakuen are well-known chain restaurants that utilize some technologies. Even if a digital tablet is not available, some restaurants provide a button for summoning a waiter. In this case, you press the button to call the waiter and place your order. However, in high-end or small privately owned restaurants, you generally do not need to call a waiter. They will come to take your order automatically. If no one comes to take your order, it is appropriate to get their attention by saying "sumimasen" in Japanese. Mistake number 4. Staying too long at the ramen restaurant. If you're into Japanese ramen, you may already know this. In most of the Japanese ramen restaurants, there's an unwritten rule that you should eat your meal quickly and then leave so the next customer can have a seat. The reasons behind this are that ramen restaurants often have limited space and the prices are much lower than in other kinds of restaurants. In addition to ramen restaurants, beef bowl chains such as Matsuya, Sukiya, and Yoshinoya have similar practices. You should be careful not to stay too long, like 2 hours, in such restaurants, as you may be considering a nuisance customer with no common sense. If you want to stay longer, I think that using a cafe is much better because cafes generally allow you to stay longer except in major areas like Shinjuku and Shibuya. Mistake number 5. Not to get one drink at Izakaya. Izakaya are uniquely Japanese casual bars where you can enjoy eating and drinking with friends and colleagues. In such izakayas, it is surprisingly common for each establishment to have a rule requiring patrons to order at least one drink. Of course, if you only want to drink water and the restaurant does not enforce this rule, I personally do not think you should be forced to order another beverage. However, the unspoken rule is that you should order at least one drink other than water, such as soft drink or alcohol beverage. While it is not uncommon for mineral water to be charged for in French or other high-end restaurants, it is usually free in most Japanese izakayas. Therefore, the exception is that you order something to drink in addition to water. Mistake number 6. Not to clean up after eating. In most restaurants, just as in your country, there's no problem leaving things as they are after eating. However, in many ramen shops, food courts, and some cafes, the situation is different. Let's first talk about eating at the counter of a local ramen restaurant in Tokyo. If there's no counter or if you eat at the table, there's irrelevant, but if you do eat at the counter, it is common to leave your bowl on the counter after you finish eating before leaving. Incidentally, at ramen shops popular among foreign tourists such as Ichiran and Ippudo, there's no need to worry about such unspoken rules. Furthermore, I've heard that there are no such unique rules in the Kansai area such as Osaka, Kyoto, or other regions.
You may consider it to be a practice primarily observed in Tokyo. Next, let's discuss dining at fast food restaurants, chain cafes, or food courts. It is common to clear your food to the return slot after you're finishing eating or drinking by yourself. At higher-priced cafes such as Komeda Coffee and Luar, the staff will clean up so you don't need to worry about it. However, it can sometimes be difficult to determine whether the establishment accepts you to clean up after yourself or if the staff will do it for you. In such cases, you should observe the behavior of other customers and follow suit. Mistake number 7. To pay at the table. In most cases, table billing is not available unless it is the policy of a fine restaurant or store. If you have finished eating or drinking and wish to pay the bill, take the slip directly to the cashier. The slip is often found in the slip holder or tucked into a small board.
If you still do not know how to pay, say "sumimasen" in Japanese and then inform the cashier that you wish to pay.
Mistake number 8. Assuming you will be served with a smile. There is a perception not only in Japan but also in restaurants worldwide that it's very important to serve customers with a smile. You may think that Japanese restaurants will always serve you with a smile, but you may be mistaken. This is not necessarily true in high-end restaurants such as those in Ginza and Roppongi or in chains like Starbucks and McDonald's where staff training is very thorough. Surprisingly, I have the impression that there are few restaurants that treat customers with friendliness and smiles. One of the reasons for this is that in Japan, personal appearance is often considered more important than smiling. I have the impression that the number of restaurants with strict rules has been decreasing recently. However, there are quite a few restaurants that banned brown hair and flashy outfits in the past. Additionally, many Japanese tend to emphasize taste and affordability over customer service.
What do you think about it, especially those of you who have recently traveled to Tokyo? Please share your thoughts in the comment section if you like.
Mistake number 9. To stop at the yellow block on the road. As a private guide, I'm often asked this question by my clients. I often see these yellow blocks, but do you know what their purpose is? These are actually braille blocks and serve as a lifeline for the blind. Linear projections guide the direction of movement while dots indicate dangerous places or destinations. Dotted projections are placed in front of stairs, crosswalks, junctions where guide blocks intersect, information boards, and elevators. Blind people rely on these braille blocks to navigate. For this reason, it is very dangerous if there are obstacles on or around the braille blocks. Let's just avoid standing on braille blocks and do not place luggage or other objects near them. Mistake number 10. Thinking it's easy to find a trash bin. As you all know, Tokyo is one of Japan's largest cities. You might expect to find many trash bins at stations and in commercial areas in Tokyo, but surprisingly, they are quite rare. Although trash bins are beginning to appear in recently established areas like Azabutai Hills and some large parks, it is still quite difficult to find a trash bin. I recommend carrying a small paper bag or plastic bag for trash disposal. If you accumulate trash while traveling, you can store it in a bag and dispose of it all at once when returned to your accommodation. Please note that littering is punishable by heavy fines under Japanese law. Mistake number 11. To follow the touts. In Tokyo, especially in the nightlife districts of Shinjuku and Roppongi, it is common to see black men calling out to people. However, with the recent increase in tourists, the police have significantly strengthened their response and I've noticed a decrease in the number of calls targeting foreigners. Nonetheless, it is still too early to be reassured. For example, in Shinjuku Kabukicho, you may often see young men and women standing around holding signs. Typically, these individuals are advertising their stores and it is impossible to determine their safety just by looking at them. Following them may lead to being charged exorbitant fees. If you want to safely enjoy the nightlife Shinjuku Kabukicho and Roppongi, it is recommended that you visit places you have researched beforehand. Alternatively, if you prefer to experience the nightlife with a local guide, I offer private tours. You can contact me through the description below. Mistake number 12. Not to perform purification before visiting a temple or shrine. Before visiting a temple or shrine in Japan, it is a basic rule to always use the chosuya to purify oneself. With the increase in the number of tourists, though, I have the impression that some people visit temples and shrines without purifying themselves. However, it is necessary for worshippers to purify their bodies and minds. The general procedure involves first, use your right hand to scoop the water with a ladle and rinse your left hand, and then right hand. Next, hold the ladle with your right hand and scoop some water into your cupped left hand. Lastly, hold the ladle upright so that the remaining water on the handle can rinse the ladle. By performing this simple ritual, one shows respect to the shrine or temple and purifies oneself. Recently, however, many shrines and temples are increasingly doing away with the ladle, possibly due to the pandemic measurements. In such cases, use your own hands to cleanse yourself before visiting the shrine or temple. Mistake number 13. Making phone calls on trains. Taking the train is a very convenient way to travel in Japan, especially in major cities such as Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto. Trains run frequently and used daily by many people, including Japanese office workers. However, several rules have been established to ensure that all passengers can travel comfortably. One such rule is to refrain from talking or talking loudly on the train. Many passengers tired from work or study appreciate a quiet space. For this reason, it is considered good manners by all railroad companies to prohibit talking loudly. Violators may be warned by other passengers or station staff. Mistake number 14. Believing that public transportation operates 24 hours a day. If you're planning to use public transportation in Japan early in the morning or late at night, you need to pay attention to the hours of operation. In central Tokyo, trains start running around 5 a.m. and stop around midnight. Furthermore, buses stop earlier in the evening than trains. In rural and regional cities, public transportation may be even more limited. In rural areas, there are fewer services and the last trains and buses often end much earlier than in urban areas. Therefore, special care should be taken when planning to travel in the countryside. When using public transportation, be sure to check the latest times for the last trains and allow plenty of time for travel. If you mistake the operating times, you could end up paying a lot for unexpected taxi fares. Mistake number 15. Not to know how to use the restroom. This is one of the things you definitely want to know before arriving in Japan. Japanese toilets are famous for their many complex functions, including heating and drying. While there are many different functions, the one you should definitely learn is how to flush the toilet after use. The shape and type of the flush button can vary widely. Older toilets generally use a lever or a button for flushing. Recently, toilets have become more convenient with an increasing number equipped with sensors that automatically flush. Since it is difficult to ask someone how to use a toilet, take the opportunity to learn. Mistake number 16. Not to get IC cards. A pass, also known as a transportation system IC card, is highly recommended for traveling in Tokyo. Although it is possible to purchase train tickets locally, doing so can be inconvenient because you have to check the ticket price and wait in line at the ticket machine each time. If you plan to use trains frequently, purchasing an IC card is essential not only because it's slightly cheaper but also more convenient. Using the card is not difficult. You can recharge it at the ticket machine or with your smartphone, and it allows you to board not only trains but also buses. When boarding a train, simply touch the IC card to the reader where it says IC card. Mistake number 17. Not to take Japanese yen with you. Local stores and rural areas may not accept credit cards or digital payment. In particular, restaurants, small stores, and some transportation systems often accept only cash. If you eat or drink without carrying enough cash, you may be considered to be eating or drinking without paying. This is considered a criminal offense and in the worst case may result in police intervention. Therefore, when traveling to Japan from a foreign country, it is very important to have some local currency on hand. ATMs are available at airports and in convenience stores such as 7-Eleven, where you can exchange money into Japanese yen immediately upon arrival. In some states in the US, some people may only know 7-Eleven as a gas station. However, for many Japanese people, 7-Eleven is indispensable. For example, it is a place where you can buy a box lunch or withdraw cash. If you're still concerned, another option is to prepare Japanese yen in your own country in advance. To avoid unnecessary troubles and enjoy a comfortable trip, be sure to have even a small amount of Japanese yen ready. Mistake number 18. Walking in the middle of an escalator. There is an unspoken rule in Japan regarding escalators. When riding an escalator, you should not stand in the middle, but rather move to either the right or left side to allow those in a hurry to pass. However, the rules for which side to stand on vary by region. In Tokyo, you are most likely to stand on the left side, while in Osaka and Kyoto, the rule is to stand on the right side.
Even as a native accustomed to Tokyo's rule, I often make mistakes when visiting Osaka or Kyoto.
Running up an escalator is very dangerous, and recently there have been warnings at train stations against doing so. Additionally, there is a push for people to stand on both sides of the escalator to ensure more efficient transportation. However, it is not easy for Japanese to change a long-established custom, and this unspoken rule remains prevalent. Mistake number 19. Not knowing a few Japanese phrases. I believe that quite a few Japanese people might feel uncomfy when suddenly spoken to in English on the street. It is always a good idea to start with sumimasen, excuse me, in Japanese, and then speak slowly in English.
Learning at least a minimum amount of Japanese can make your interactions with Japanese people smoother. Here, I'd like to share with you 4 Japanese words that you should remember at the minimum.
1. Sumimasen, which translates to excuse me in English. 2. Arigatou gozaimasu, which means thank you. 3. Daijoubu desu, equivalent to no thank you. Use this phrase if you are asked whether you need a plastic bag at a convenience store or supermarket. 4. Gochisou sama desu. It is good manners to say this when leaving a restaurant after finishing your meal to express gratitude to those who prepared it. Please try to use these 4 words. Mistake number 20. Not being travel insured. You may have overseas insurance coverage through your credit card, but generally, the limits of coverage for illness or injury are small. A case in point involved a woman from Thailand who came to Japan in 2018. She collapsed due to heart disease and, fortunately, her life was saved. However, she ended up with medical expenses in excess of 18 million yen. Currently, ambulances are available free of charge, including for foreign tourists, but medical examinations and treatments at hospitals are costly. She did not take out additional insurance because she wanted to keep her travel expenses low. However, to avoid being hit with a large bill, everyone should make sure to secure comprehensive overseas insurance.
Be sure to check the coverage limits for illness or injury. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like button. Thanks for watching. See you at the next video.